Yuan Tong, Ling Ming. The organ healing the organs series continues. I am going to follow the Sheng cycle. Remember, we have two cycles, the Ke cycle and the Sheng cycle. Sheng is nourishing cycle and Ke is the controlling cycle. Within the 5 elements, the system of 5 elements within Chinese medicine. Actually, I don't know if Chinese medicine works as a term here, because the 5 elements come out of, there is Tao, and out of Tao comes one, and out of one comes 2, yin yang, and out of yin yang comes 3. So a trinity, for example, body, mind, Shen. Body, Chi, and Shen, the mind. And then, like this, it continues. Usually out of 3 come 10,000 things. So the next step up, the next jump in the understanding is within the observation of Qi is from 3 it goes to 5. And that's the 5 elements. So I've talked a little bit about this while we were on the lungs. Maybe I show you the Sheng cycle again and the Ke cycle, so you see, how the 5 elements are nourishing themselves and controlling themselves, since we follow the nourishing cycle in this healing organ series. So we have been doing lungs and large intestines, and now we've moved on to kidney and bladder, which is from metal moving on to water. So metal nourishes water, right? Let me show you that one more time. Okay, let's have a look. So can you see over here, this is the Sheng cycle. Let me come a bit closer. The nourishing cycle. And as you see, they all support each other, nourish each other, depend on each other. And from lungs and large intestine metal, we move on to the kidneys and bladder. If you want to see the Ke cycle one more time, here you go. So the metal was controlling wood and is controlled by fire. And now we're looking at water, and water, of course, is controlling fire. That would be the heart, the small intestine, the pericard, and the sun chow. And water is controlled by earth, which would be spleen, stomach, spleen, pancreas, and stomach, actually. Yeah. So, if we move back to the nourishing cycle, the water is nourished by metal, and nourishes wood. So healthy kidneys, healthy bladder, nourish healthy liver and healthy gallbladder. Healthy lungs nourish healthy kidneys. Yeah? Lungs and large intestine nourish kidney and bladder. And so if the lungs aren't healthy, maybe the kidneys can't be healthy anymore, and then maybe the liver cannot be healthy anymore. Or because it controls the heart, the kidneys, maybe that's why the heart can't be healthy. So looking at this in an overall way at our organs is what we do in Ren Shui. We try to work as much as possible with total reality. And as I think I've said already once, but I would like to say it again here, as we continue to go on into those organ series, you will see more and more how really everything is connected. And how one symptom or pain could come from 1,000 or 1,000,000 possibilities. So coming back to, using Yuan Gong and Ren Shui, using the methods and tools and knowledge from total reality and coming out of total reality is probably the safest and most effective way to work on health. So, first of all, let's have a look physically where the kidneys are. So this is the back of a body. So you see upstairs the lungs, and then you see the rectum and the bum, the bottom. And then you see up there the kidneys. Hold on, I'm trying to find. There's one kidney and there's the other kidney. Those little beans on the sides. And what you see, those strings from the kidney going down, those are the urethras going down into the bladder. So they're actually kind of almost, in the center of our body, of the torso. And I think you have seen it when we looked at the lungs, how close all the organs are connected, or are, at each other, within each other, how close they are to each other. Yeah? So, before we move into the more, Chi understanding of kidney and bladder, I would like to show you, or, just let's look at the anatomy, physiology for a moment. Okay? So, what are the kidneys doing? Well, one main job of them is to function as a sieve, as a filter. About 200 liters of blood every day are being filtered through the kidneys. They're being brought there and then they are being filtered through the kidneys. Your kidneys are like sponges or a sieve. and they sort out about 2 liters of waste products out of your out of your blood every day. So 200 liters is a lot of fluids, right? It's just a huge amount. And 2 liters is also a big amount to be getting rid of. And what happens with that? Well, this is delivered through the ureters down to the bladder, and the bladder is then going to release it when we go to the toilet. So, also you've heard that in lungs and large intestine that, one theme of the kidneys is release. Here we also have release and also have sorting out of pure and impure, like the large intestine. The other main job of the kidneys is through this sifting through, it balances chemicals like sodium, like potassium, like what else? There's one more important one. Hold on. Sodium, potassium, and phosphorus. So phosphorus is really important for our bones and for a lot of other things, of course. Yeah, we'll hear about bones a bit more. So the kidneys take everything, or where is the waste coming from, you might ask yourself. So the waste is coming from, cell debris. Everything, that is coming from through the cell reproduction. As you know, your cells are constantly being reproduced. I think I talked about this with the large intestine. You get, but it fits really into the kidney theme, because one of the kidney themes, big themes, is reproduction. And so we'll look at that a bit closely. So healthy kidneys and strong kidney chi is going to be very beneficial for your cell reproduction. Cell reproduction is ongoing. So all 3 days you get a complete new intestinal lining. All 3 days, all the cells of your intestinal lining is renewed and reproduced. Every second you get 20,000 new blood cells. That makes a lot of blood cells at the end of the day. Can you imagine, every second 20,000 new blood cells? So scientists have measured that about all 270 days you get a new skeleton. Hold on, I'm just thinking how to say that. Every bone cell in your body is reproduced once in about 270 days. Give or less, give a little or leave a little. Isn't that amazing? I'm trying to stick to only anatomy and physiology, but I'm being drawn already into the theme of reproduction, because this is how health works. There's so many aspects to this theme. So kidney chi, or healthy kidneys, are responsible for healthy bloods. This is in Chinese medicine, for healthy bones. This is in Chinese medicine a big aspect, but it actually is also an aspect in Western anatomy or physiology. Okay, so let me try to stick a little bit more. I'm coming back to reproduction at some stage. So all of these cells that are being reproduced, they also die off at some stage, and those need to be taken care of. This happens through several systems in the body. But on a chemical level, for example, that's what the kidneys take care of. They sift through all the blood coming from all the cells, constantly moving around, flowing through the body, coming here, going there, coming to the organs, going into the body parts, going into the bones, going into your brain, coming back out again, floating further. And so it all is being filtered in the kidneys. And all of the chemicals that the body can still need, like the phosphorus and the sodium and the potassium, the kidneys regulate the balance. We need, according to Western medicine, there is a certain chemical balance that we need on which life, or with which life is happening. When there is too little or an excess, too much, then life is being disturbed or doesn't function undisturbed. So the kidneys are really, making this filtering and this what we keep behind, what we keep, what is being stored. The storage in itself is a theme of the kidneys. They keep what they still, what we still need. They store all of that. So those are two of the main anatomic or physiological jobs of the kidneys. And then there's a few other important jobs which are really worth mentioning, but here I need my cheat sheet because they're complex Western medicine words. But one of them is not EPO. Erythropoietin. Erythropoietin. You can Google it, you just need to Google kidney functions. So, or short for EPO. It's a hormone, and the kidneys release this hormone. Actually, they release 3 important hormones, so we're going to look at all 3 of them. Because they have to do with interesting things. So EPO is something that stimulates the bones to make red blood cells. So red blood cells are made in the bone marrow, right? So what do red blood cells do? Let's make it a little less theoretic. You probably all know the name Lance Armstrong. Do you? Lance Armstrong, the cyclist that seems to have been undestroyable on 7 Tour de France and eventually they found out that he was doping with EPO. Actually, the whole circus was, a lot of teams were doping with EPO, but why did they do that? So your bone marrow reproduces red blood cells, and what red blood cells do is they store oxygen. They produce. That's where oxygen is produced. So if you can, if you can have more oxygen within your blood, your muscles are more potent, or your efficiency, your performance will be more potent. Since the more oxygen we have, the more we can move, the more power we have in our muscles, for example. So EPO is, when the kidneys aren't very strong, then it's not being released a lot. Why I'm talking about this, about a sports guy, is that, you know how currently it seems to be a human understanding that sports is healthy. Like with everything, there is no absolute, and sports can become very unhealthy when you do it in excess, for example. The other example is the higher risk of injuries, depending on how wild the sport gets or how intense. But, so if you are doing a lot of sports, especially those, what do you call it in English? Ausdauersport in German. Total blackout, let me have a look. Where you have a lot of heart circulation. So going on. So endurance sports. Endurance sports like marathon running or cycling or triathlon, or just everything for hours and hours and hours. It weakens you're using up energy, and this energy is being somewhat taken out from the kidneys, since the kidneys are responsible for storing energy. And now when you overuse this function, then you kind of weaken your kidneys, but also your bones. You are stimulating the bones in a very short time to make a lot of EPO. And then the kidneys have to work harder to sift out the excess afterwards. And, those guys, Lance Armstrong and co, and, Marco Pantini, what's his name? Pantani. Like, just, we know that from those doping scandals, but those people, they weren't allowed to sleep through a whole night, because otherwise the EPO that they injected, that was not naturally, plus the body's EPO, it just overworked their body so much that they would have, died if they of liver dysfunction and kidney dysfunctions and things like that. Just because their body kept producing. So movement is very important. We need to move our body. Some systems only work through peristaltic and move, so peristaltic and movement is very important for some forms of chi and other aspects of the body, other functions of the body. But we really want to have a look at overly exertion. Yeah. Renin or renin is another hormone that is released by the kidneys, and it regulates the blood pressure. So red blood cells and blood pressure. You would actually think this has more to do with heart health, but actually this is coming from the kidneys. Yeah? And the other hormone that it releases, or that the kidneys release into the body, is the active form of vitamin D. Which, here we come back to the bones, because they are maintaining the calcium that we need in the bones and other parts of the body, but mainly for the calcium. So here comes in a lot of, strength for the bones, a lot of health for the bones. And now we can see, even from the anatomical or the physiological aspect, why the kidneys have to do a lot with healthy bones, healthy bone marrow. And therefore you can also now see in the K cycle, in the controlling cycle, why the kidneys control the heart. Yeah, because through whatever they release, they are directly involved in the blood pressure and red blood cells. Okay. So anatomically, these are the main functions, for you to know or to see. So release, sifting, filtering, and storing. And also, not only release, sifting, storing, filtering, reproducing, because it reproduces really important hormones. It makes them and then sends them out, releases them. So, reproduction. I have talked to you about this before a little bit. Now I would like to expand a little bit on that theme. But maybe I show you the meridians first, so it makes a bit more sense for you. Or, no, not more sense, but so there's more support there for understanding. The Kidney Meridian and the Bladder Meridian, of course, work very closely together because it's the yin and the yang organ. And both of them are very, very long meridians. They are, the bladder is actually one of the longest, it's completely. So there's a lot, about them. So I would recommend that you if you're interested in this, otherwise you can just always come back to the web class and just pause and have another look. Remember the time in which I show the meridians, and then you can just come back to that and have a look at it. But if you're really interested, just download the manuals that I have put underneath in the link in the description. Yeah. So I know I sent out the first one, the lung meridian. I have decided not to do that because I'm not really clear on the copyrights. actually, I'm very clear on the copyrights now. I'm probably not supposed to do that, even so I know that Peter Deadman and, you know, they allow this manual to be used by a lot of different teaching modalities. It's just that I haven't really asked them, and I guess what you have to do is write an email and ask if you're allowed to use that. So that's why I'm referencing them and I'm asking you to buy the manuals. You do want to have a really good manual about meridians if you're really interested in working on your health, yourself. You don't want to just work with any type of meridian charts, and there's tons and tons and tons out there. And I have talked to a lot of people about this, you know, within Chinese medicine and what types of charts they use. And interesting, again and again, those were mentioned to me. And really, I have looked at so many. And to me, they just always made the most sense because they show the internal branches as well. And they, you know, they're really from a total reality aspect kind of interesting because it shows the external and the internal branches. Okay, so let's have a look. I'm going to show you. I have to look how I'm going to do this the best way. Like this. Let's have a look. The kidney meridian starts at the bottom of the foot. Can you see that? That's actually my drawing. So that's Yongquan. We use this point a lot when we still used Qinen Qigong, but Yongquan is why we have our feet flat on the floor. Yeah, you want to have this point here, which is right there at the bottom of the foot. Yeah. So you want to have this, your feet flat on the floor, so this point can be opened well, and the qi can start, you know, flowing well in there. And then it leads up to the inside of the foot, underneath the ankle. And it's not finished there, it's just that's the drawing. It continues over here. Can you see? I'm coming closer. So it continues up, whoops, and around the ankle in a circle with several points, and then it goes up the inside of the leg into the knee, up to Hui Yin. And here something interesting happens, but let's look first. So from Hui Yin, something interesting happens. An internal branch goes into Wei Lu, the tailbone. And from the tailbone, it runs through the sacrum and the lumbar spine into the kidneys, and from there to the bladder. And from the bladder, it exits again onto Ren Mai. Not Ren Mai, sorry. Hold on. I'm trying to keep this close. Besides Ren Mai. So Ren Mai is right. So can you see Du Chi here? Du Chi is the navel, yes? And Ren Mai would go right in the center. And the Kidney Meridian runs to the left and the right of Ren Mai. So it has a very close connection to one of these extraordinary channels. So there is 8 extraordinary channels. You know 2 of them. Now you probably know 3 of them. So there is the Dumai, which is, you know, the one in the back that we're, you know, opening with squats, and Ren Mai. And then there is Dai Mai, the girdle belt, running around from Du Chi to Ming Men. That's 3 of them, and there is several. So there's -8, 5 more. So there's 8 extraordinary channels. They regulate. They are like the, they balance they're like the overflow tank and the mastermind of the 12 main channels. So we have 12 main channels for the 5 main organs, and pericard has another one, pericard and San Chao. So there's, you could say, 6 yin organs and 6 yang organs, just that 2 of them aren't organs. So it's 5 yin organs and 5 yang organs plus pericard and San Chao, who actually belong to the heart, to fire, which we will look at more when we look at heart and fire. So in a way you can understand or see that the element fire has 4 channels, and every other element has 2 channels corresponding to them. Okay? So let's look further again. So the kidney meridian is very close to Renmai. Yeah? It has a very close connection to that. And the Renmai obviously is a very, very important. In the 5th method of Yuan Gong, Chong Yuan, this is becoming very, very clear why the Dumai and the Renmai are so important. But we're not going to go into that right now, right here. So let's look further at the kidney meridian. I hope you can see that today the light is coming in quite strongly. So let's again, from the foot, the sole of the foot, it goes to the internal around the ankle up to Huyin, from Huyin into the tailbone, from the tailbone through the sacrum to and into the kidneys, and from there it splits up internally. So this is the internal branch, yes? One goes up through the diaphragm, the liver, the lungs, and the other one goes down to the bladder. And at the bladder it exits to the external channel again and goes up parallel to Ren Yuan. Remember, we have 2 sides, yeah, left and right. It's just there's only one in there for not confusing it. And then it goes through the breasts. And from the breast it goes up to under the collarbone. This point is called kidney 27. I don't have the Chinese name right now in my head. And from here, actually what happens is it goes internal into the brain, which is not shown. Let's look at what happens with the internal branch over here, that one that goes from the lungs. From the lungs, there's an internal branch going away, connecting with the heart into the pericard, and also connecting to Ren Yuan again. Sorry. To the Ren channel, not Ren Yuan, Ren channel, the one in the front, the main one. And yeah, and then it goes into the face, and from there it goes up to the ear, and from the ear it goes up into the brain. And actually it goes into the brain from here too. Let me have a look if I can get my finger there. Where's my finger? Here. From here. From the collarbone, it goes up into the brain as well. So that is the kidney channel. Here I would have it a little bit. Let me show you. It's a bit bigger here. So I can't get the whole thing up. So let's follow it up one more time. From the bottom of the foot, the sole, it comes up in the inward foot, around the ankle, going up into the knee, to the knee, up to Hui Yin. From there it goes into the sacrum, also tailbone, sacrum, lumbar spine. From there into the kidney where it branches out, and one of the branches goes down to the bladder, and from there it exits again into the external kidney channel, going up Renmai into the breast to the collarbone, and from there up into the brain. Okay? With kidney and bladder, I'm going to show you the bladder channel as well now, because I think it's very important to see the connections. Okay, so let's have a look. That's the whole bladder channel. Again, I can't show you the whole one because it's just not big enough. We start here on the outside of the foot. Can you see? It starts at the little toe. It goes along the outside of the foot into the heel, into behind the ankle, and from there it goes up at the outside of the lower leg to halfway, where it goes to the center of the lower leg, and then runs at the back of the leg, pretty much straight up. In the knee, in the back of the knee, it separates into two channels. And there are two. One goes to Hun Tiao, which you know from tapping along the channels. And from there it goes into, the bottom. And there is a lot there. Can you see? A lot of bladder points at the back of at the upper part of your bottom. But there it branches out from the knee and goes up in two external channels. And then there is a lot of points along the two channels that go. So you have here on the back the main channel, one of the 8 extraordinary channels, the Dumai. Okay, Dumai and Renmai is the two major channels in the body. Like from there, everything goes out into all the rest of the channels. And this is why we put the tongue tip on the top of the palate, to connect the Dumai, which starts here, right here, and the Renmai goes, Dumai goes all the way here, down to Huyin, and at Huyin, Renmai comes up to about here. And the tongue bridges this connection. And this is why we always connect with our tongue to the upper palate, so that Dumai and Renmai can actually flow well, uninterrupted, without any split in it. Have you ever become aware that maybe your tongue is actually lying up there naturally anyway when you do not do any Yuan Gong? Have a look. Try if you can think about it when you drive somewhere next time, or when you, now for example. Okay, but now we have made a preparation before the class, right? We relax and we open to the universe. When we build the chi field, get a chi, we lift, we lift the tongue up there. We rest it on the upper palate. So you want to have that doing all the time. Actually, just like lifting Huiyin, you want to lift Huiyin all the time. Yeah, so it's really worth it to practice that, and to put some attention towards it all day long. always, again and again and again, just checking if Hu Yin is still lifted and if the upper palate is being touched by your tongue, so that the circuit of Ren Mai and Du Mai are being closed, are being one, are being connected. Actually, since I'm talking about, we're going to look at the bladder channel right away. I just really want to, since I've just talked about Hu Yin, it really fits wonderfully here into the kidney class, kidney and bladder class. Hu Yin is the place between the two orifices at the bottom of the body for the women, and for the males it's between the anus and the scrotum. So it is basically a point, and chi entry point, a chi gate at the bottom of the body. But then, so chi is coming in there, and chi is always coming in spirals, but then not far above, it's accumulating into a guan chao. Yeah. A chi gathering place. Like, what is another chi gathering place? You know it, Dantian. Yeah. All of these, let me have a look. All of these gathering places, they kind of, they kind of, they center around a core, and from there, chi gathers the most at the core, but then of course, what am I trying to describe? What I'm trying to describe is Dantian is not an exact ball, right? It's not an exact ball. There is a core, and chi gathers there more dense. Maybe I should come, where can you see it better here? Chi gathers more dense at the core, and then, but chi gathers around the core and less and less and less, and that's why, so it has to do with the density, why it forms a ball kind of formation. But it's not something that has a boundary, like a swimming pool or like a balloon, and inside, or a ball, and inside the air is the chi that's being filled. It's the other way, actually. The chi is gathering the most at the center point, and from there, it just accumulates less and less. I just used that in one of the sessions this week, but you know what's, I think it helps maybe if you connect the understanding of that, what is, Guan Chao. I hope I say it right. It's written Q-U-A-N-Q-I-A-O, Guan Chao. It's chi gathering places like Dantian or Hu Yin. So Hu Yin is not only a place, a point at the bottom, it's also a gathering, it's also, when it's lifted, it can become a gathering place. Let's say it like this. I just remember something. I will show you that Janse has drawn it. So we want to lift with awareness Hu Yin up, so that it can become a chi gathering place. It can be there. And Hu Yin, of course, is, it's connecting when we stand to Ming Men, and it's connecting when we sit to Dantian, or that's where we should connect it to. Now Mingmen is on the channel of Dumai, but is a point that connects right with the kidneys. Kidney is like, it's called the gate of life, and it is Mingmen, and it is a point that is ruled by Kidney Chi, or Kidney Chi is predominantly present there, and also predominantly connected with Kidney Chi. And so there's something Janse said, oh my God, I'm sorry, it's getting all a bit, there's so much ideas are coming now. And I was so scared. Well, the emotion of the kidneys is fear. And I felt quite a bit of this the last few days. I don't know why, probably because it's kidney chi field and the information is working within me. I was so scared that I wouldn't know what to say. Okay, so let's back step a little bit, and I'm just going to unify a little bit more. So, Hui Yin. You want to lift Hui Yin because it saves you a lot of kidney and dantian chi, because kidney chi is the immediate chi that is being transformed into dantian chi. So kidney chi is very, very important. Okay. So lifting Hui Yin is going to support a lot of your kidney and bladder chi. It's going to strengthen it, because when Hui Yin is lifted, the chi is not going to drool out like in a bathtub. It's going to stay in, and it actually can, so when you stand or sit, have you got your Hui Yin lifted now? Because chi, it's like, it's going downwards as well. And at Hui Yin, it's like, it's plopping out, it's dripping. You lose kidney chi, or let's call it chi for now, through Hui Yin. But when you think about lifting Hui Yin, so you lift from the place, you lift a spiral up, and it can then start forming Hui Yin, this Guan Chao, this center, this chi gathering place. And you connect it with Dantian or Mingmen when you stand, then the chi is not going to drool out, it's going to come in from the universe. The flow of the universal chi in a spiral is open, and you reverse. You reverse the flow of chi. Through lifting Hui Yin, chi can flow inwards instead of from inwards outwards. It's a very simple way of saving yourself a lot of life chi. And that is essentially what kidney chi is. I heard Janse once say, when your kidney chi is used up, that's when your body dies. So when the kidney chi is gone, that's when we go back into universal consciousness. So this life in this body goes to an end. Somewhat, if you have lived a healthy, happy life, no big deal, because you just go on and use all the wisdom from the last life to continue to live and use it in another form again, or receive it in another form. But I want to show you a picture. Let me show you a picture that I haven't prepared, because I just got the idea now. I hope I'm going to find this now. Let's have a look. All photos about Hui Yin. It's a photo that Janse made. It's a drawing that Janse made at the last teacher's training. So this, what you see now, is Dantian. And Hui Yin sits in here once you've lifted it. So there is the gate Hui Yin, and when you lift Hui Yin, it can form a little, like you have to imagine another little chi bubble here, another chi ball, so to speak. Yeah? But again, Guan Chao, those chi gathering places, as I said, are not a ball. They're like one of those. Man, she just told me what's the name of this is because I asked her. You know, what you use at the 4th of July in America, and I guess the rest of the world uses it on Christmas trees. Those things, you know, those little sticks that you light them up with a lighter with fire, and then they sparkle and burn down. Sparklers, or what do you call them? Do you know what I mean? I hope you know what I mean. You know those that make those little explosive fireworks thingies, but it's on a stick and you can hold them. People used to use them on concerts too. I don't have the word for it right now. I don't even have it in German. I just have the picture. And did you ever watch it burning down? It's the most intense in the center, and the sparks go out from the center and they go less and less intense. But it's really gleaming and glowing in the center. This is a little bit how you can imagine your dantians or your huiyin, all the gathering places, all the guan chao, all the chi gathering places. There's more than dantian, we have learned. In Zhongyuan you learn more about that once you learn that. Okay, so now I'm going back to my bladder channel. Let me just search this. Okay. So there's a lot of information coming your way. Again, you can watch it and re-watch it, and I will do my best to teach it so it makes sense. But I guess my mind just works a little bit like this, you know, in circles, round and round and round, always picking up on other aspects out of totality, or the other aspects that belong to one thing. And so I'll do my best. Let's come back to the bladder. So we've been here, and we ended up around here, yes? Where it splits up in the knee in two and then goes into the bottom, and then can you see? So you can imagine Dumai, the main channel, going in the center of your body, yeah? And on the left and the right side of Dumai, very close to it, there is the two channels with a lot of bladder meridian points. You know, the bladder channel has a lot of influence on your back. And as you have seen the internal branch before of the kidney channel that goes into tailbone, sacrum and lower spine, internally even, directly goes through, you can see how kidney chi and bladder chi have a lot to do with your health of your back. And your spine, of course. So, and when you see where the kidneys are, the bladder channel has an internal branch down into the bladder from the kidneys. Which is interesting. It goes first into the kidneys and from the kidneys into the bladder. Yeah? And then it goes up. Just have a look at it. Above your shoulder blades, and from there it goes into Da Chui. Da Chui, you know, from when you've learned Ren Yuan. And then it goes up in the center, it connects with Dumai for a moment, and then it splits up again and goes above your scalp, over. So here it splits up into quite a few things. Just have a look at it all, so I don't even have to describe it, I think. Can you see it goes above the skull, and there it one goes at the side down to the ears again. The other goes up. There's a lot of points on the top of your head. One goes in the center through. It's part of Dumai. And it goes down through the front of your forehead to the inside of the, not the eye, but on the side of the nose and down into the face. So the bladder channel and the kidney channel deliver a lot of chi from all the way in the universe below you, through you, the human, and up to the brain, and then back up. So Bai Hui is on the bladder channel, because the bladder channel becomes one with Du Mai there for a moment. Yeah? So at this point you couldn't even say if Du Mai or bladder channel, are separate. They're just one. It's a lot, isn't it? Okay, let's just see if we can show you that one more time. That's the bladder channel from the side of the foot, going up, splitting, really ruling your back there, coming up into the head and really cruising around in the head or on the head. Okay, so Kidney Chi is our Chi of life. It's the Chi that stores the Chi for our life. It nourishes our life. It is, it's like, yes, the three dantian are our batteries, but the kidney chi is the first that connects into dantian. So you really want to take care of your kidney chi a lot. How do we take care of the kidney chi? It's quite complex actually, because kidney chi is taking care or is governing our prenatal chi. So, do you remember when we were at the lungs, we were, they govern the postnatal chi, they govern the chi in all the channels. Kidney chi, or the kidneys, is governing the prenatal chi. What is prenatal chi? What is the word pre? Before, and natal is birth. So, before birth. What is before birth? We could look at this in two aspects. the one birth that usually humans, or the majority of humans, see as birth, which is when you are being born out of the womb of your mother. Prenatal chi comes partially from your parents. The chi of your parents is part of prenatal chi. So here we are on the level of DNA and genes and the healthy lifestyle of your parents during pregnancy, but actually not only during pregnancy. What's the second aspect we could view birth like? Conception, yes? What were we before conception? Chi, which is information, energy, and material in the universe. That's what we are, and that's what we always have been, and that's also what we always will be. So, prenatal chi is yuan chi, which is the original chi in the universe, the chi that is not yet separated into yin and yang. It's the primordial chi, in which also universal consciousness is being housed, so to speak, and in which the potential of the whole universe is housed. Yuan Qi is the Qi that we try together when we do practice. That's why it's called Yuan Gong. But to a degree, this is what we all are because we come from Yuan Qi. And within this Yuan Qi, there is the universal consciousness. So all the information, the energy, and all the material is from there and comes from there. It stems from there and it goes back into that until it changes form again. And this change is everlasting. So we change into physical form and we change back into non-physical form. That also happens on a small scale with cell and cell reproduction. So when we change from Yuan Qi into forms of physical Qi, that happens in the moment of conception. But what is part of conception? What is part of prenatal Qi? It's part of the egg of the mother and the semen of the father. So, can you see how, again, it's very difficult to determine where prenatal Qi starts exactly. It's, you can make it easy and just say it's Yuan Qi and it's the Qi of parents. It's, how long does it take for an egg to ripe? How long does it take for semen to ripe? What is the time span that is involved? And maybe not only on the physical level of an egg or a sperm. What is the time span involved in the concept of the mind? So the Shen of the father and the Shen of the mother, when are they starting to produce or prepare or generate an egg and a semen? It's really, really interesting, and it really is so intriguing to take time and think about these aspects, because you have just heard on an anatomical level how kidney chi is our, kidney and bladder go up to the brain, and they nourish and feed the brain. So a healthy brain has to do with a lot with healthy kidney chi, and see how kidney chi is involved into this whole reproduction process. So Shen of father and mother are infusing information into Qi to form material that becomes eventually egg and semen. And they also use their kidney Qi to do that. And it is a very, very high potent material. It actually has a name in Chinese medicine. It's called essence. So that is, for example, the ejection. I can't even get the word out. Ejaculation of the man, the semen of the man, but also the egg of the woman. They are made out of this essence, and you have to. Can you see? They store. As soon as the semen and the egg connect, that's when a new life starts happening. And what also happens is when this is connecting, not only on the anatomical level, what is happening, and then the whole process of cell reproduction starts happening, from egg and semen go into one, this is splitting up into two, this is splitting up into 4 cells, and from there it starts to develop more and more. So what also happens in the moment of conception is that we receive our kidney chi. Our kidney chi is being born. Now, the kidney chi is, the other job is storage. In this moment, you are being infused with all of the information you have gathered in other lives, and also what you have gathered in as being part of universal consciousness. So, in other words, the life development, the life cultivation, the wisdom that you have managed to accumulate is stored within the kidney chi, so to speak. So when kidney chi is used up in the life before, it's storing the information and your level of wisdom, your level of knowledge inside the chi, and it becomes part of the universal consciousness. But this information is always who you will stay, and it comes back in the birth of your chi, when your mother's egg and your father's sperm come together. And all of that information it's like, you could say it's like activating something, it's activated. Your life is being activated, and your life information is activated. And all of your life's information is stored within that. So now it makes maybe sense to you why the kidneys are nourishing our brain, because it's the residing place of our Shen, And also, kidney and bladder channel are one. They're out of the element water. They kind of, there may be two things in our head, but they are part of one, the element water. And, you see how the bladder is ruling the spine. So the central nervous system is brain and the spine, the bone marrow. Have you heard the word bone marrow today already while I was talking about kidneys? Can you now in this very moment have an impression of why when you move in excess, or you are moving all day long without relaxing, or when you move when you're not relaxed? So in other words, Renyuan is a lot of movement, right? But you're deeply relaxed and you're gathering chi. So actually, this kind of movement is not using chi, it's gathering chi. But doing extreme sports is using, in which you might even have a lot of adrenaline pumping, which is produced by the adrenals. And the adrenals are, of course, they sit on top of the kidneys. They are basically, you could say they are a part of the kidneys. So you do not want to use adrenaline. You do not want to use it. You do want to use it for the health of your life. And I'm talking about the overall development of life. Your information, your energy, and your material. Body, chi, shen, in the course of all of your lives. So all of that is got to do with prenatal chi. At this point, maybe what fits in is something that I would like you to think about this week. So the birth of your chi, which is the conception, where you're infused with all the information, but then you are growing as a human being inside your mother, and you're surrounded by your father, or not. All of these situations have now to do with healthy living. Not only what your mother eats, not only what your father thinks and what your mother thinks, and how they relate to each other and how they respond to each other. And I don't know why this happens. Just now I have this idea of a lot of people are anti-abortion, or pregnancy interruption. And they come along with concepts of religion that often, are very, which is interesting because religion does, in history, is being used so often to, for killing, like human beings. And really, when you look at it from a chi perspective, when you look at it from that perspective, if the mother is being raped, for example, doesn't know anything about the father and doesn't have him around, or, I think we humans have to grow up and grow wiser and think about those aspects, to be okay with a woman deciding with wisdom about if she will nourish that life with healthy chi. Someone who has to rape someone, either women, kids, or men are being raped as well, is probably not very healthy in their mind, which is kidney chi. So there's a lot of aspects here. I just really, I'm trying to give you some food for thoughts, some ways to break through some, if you have very strong belief systems about aspects around birth. In all different variations, this all has a lot to do with kidney chi and the health of kidney chi, the health of the kidney chi of your parents, and of yourself, and it has to do a lot with your previous lives. So in the whole idea of conception, and if it is your conception or if you want to conceive, there is a lot of aspects to be looked at, and it is good to have information that I'm trying to provide here as random. That's why I'm going to take some time with Kidney Chi. Also, I was a bit panicked because it's so much and I didn't know where to start and where to begin and where to end. But instead of, when you are in your life at a point where you are either sick and you don't know where it comes from and nobody knows, instead of asking, why me? Why did I get to be sick? Why, a lot of us feel like a victim when we get sick. If you can use this information to stay in a healthy, relaxed, calm state in which you can work with knowledge and understanding, with information about where disease or sickness might also come from, you can maybe keep a healthier state. You don't fall into guilt or shame or into victimhood, and you can stay in the healthy state and therefore maybe have accomplished another moment of healing in your life instead of another moment that is damaging your life. You are in the world for a lot of reasons, and you will give life into this world for a lot of reasons, and you might not give life into this world for a lot of reasons either. And if it saves your life to not have a child, then I think we ought to think more holistically about all of these aspects. More totality, more total reality, the total of the reality, the whole of the reality of all of these aspects, and less emotional or less, what's the word? I'm thinking of instinctual level, being ruled by our sexuality, and just because it is being the primate information on on very I don't know, they're also complex. The survival level is also Kidney Chi. Can you see it's becoming very complex? For now, our consciousness is probably a lot still like animals, that we need to reproduce. But there's 9 billion people in the world, and maybe we ought to only reproduce when we can provide really healthy Shen of myself, the one who, sorry, because I'm a woman, of the mother and the father. If we tend to work a few years on our lives and with Chi, and really make Kidney Chi healthy, make Shen healthy, and then consciously reproduce a child. Sounds a bit clinical, right? Make a child. Make love and make a child. But see, there's so much emotional things into it. It's like, if we can find our purpose in wisdom, other than in simply being a reproduction machine. You know how a lot of women deal with the thoughts of, I can't have a child for some reason, I can't become pregnant or can't keep a child, I must not be a real woman, I am a failure as a woman. You just, whoever thinks like this is harming themselves a lot with through very limited knowledge, through very limited understanding. Our purpose is not only to make sure that the species doesn't extinct. It's an aspect, and it's an important aspect, and we ought to do so with love and respect and gratitude, and wanting to give someone a really good start to the actual, a big aspect of purpose of human being, which is developing wisdom. So no child, one child, or 15 children, the purpose of a human life is still to develop wisdom and live the life healthy and happy. Which of course can make us think, if a woman uses her kidney chi to produce a child, I wonder how much kidney chi is left after 10 children or 15. But then again, of course, we are human beings and children are important, and they are our next step. There's a big evolutionary jump within the physical chi possible. The development of the brain, you can see it within every new generation. The brain is more evolved. The kidney chi has gathered more information, more wisdom in the life beforehand. Also, we need to keep birthing children because in some ways we are making sure that we can have another body again, eventually. Since we've lost our body, we need someone to birth a child, so we get born. So the theme of reproduction is a big one, and it is being governed by kidney chi and bladder chi. There's some interesting aspects of that. Healthy living is good for our kidneys. And healthy living now is going to be good for our coming back healthy. And if we're not healthy, then maybe we haven't taken care of our health in another place, in another time. So falling into why me and feeling like a victimhood is just a waste of time. It's understandable that we feel scared. Again, fear is the emotion of, or is what is ruled by the kidneys. We look at that a bit more next time. It's understandable that we are scared when we are about to lose our life or when we are getting sick, which it doesn't matter on which level, a little cut or, a serious disease or some mental sickness. It has to do a lot with healthy kidney chi. And because kidney chi is in connection with all the other chi, it has to do with healthy chi. And so wasting time on feeling bad about being sick, use those 10 minutes that you feel bad about yourself rather to gather chi in a healthy way with any form of Yuan Gong, one of the 4 or 5 major methods, or the supplementary exercises, or squats are especially good for kidney chi as well. Of course, Ren Yuan, of course, Di Yuan, of course. Well, we'll look at all of these aspects. Okay. Take care of your kidney chi. Take care of your feet and your head. And take care of your heart. Because the kidney chi connects directly with the heart and fills the brain where Shen resides, and Shen and heart are one. so far for Kidney Chi. There is no reactions necessary whatsoever. We're gonna love the positive information. We're going to love to, we're just going to use this information to put healthy information, healthy replacement information into us all of the time. And I will see you next week with more information about kidney and bladder and your life. And your kidneys and your bladder and your life will heal in the meantime. Thank you. Xie. Let's draw Chi back. Closing your eyes. Lifting from Bai Hui if you haven't. Touching your tongue tip. Making sure Hui Yin is lifted. Unify with the Chi field. And all the information. And draw it back to the center of your head. Open into the Chi field again, unify. And draw Chi back to lower Dantian. Nourishing lower Dantian. Your state is relaxed, calm, and natural. Feel the nice state. So well you feel right now. All is good. And if you have gone into a really nice, beautiful state, or your consciousness is now still processing information, just stay inwards and do the head and face yourself. If you have been sitting cross-legged, make sure you're going to tap Chi down and guide Chi down before you get up. And then do head and face, and I will see you next week.